Veterans re-entering civilian life face many challenges, including finding a job. Hi, I'm Montel Williams, and welcome to this edition of Military Makeover Operation Career. Today, we have 4 inspirational stories of former servicemen and women who have reinvented themselves and are thriving at companies that value their unique skills. Being a company that is a critical defense industrial-based supplier, Sparton isn't just military friendly, it's military infused. Take a look at this.
Sparton's a 120-year-old company that started out in automotive parts back in the early days of the automotive industry, and then got into radio. In fact, we had a patent for the very first crystal radio. Was building TVs in the 30s and 40s, and now, though, we're a pure-play defense company.
Every conference room at Sparton is named after a U.S. Navy ship sunk by enemy submarines in World War II. It serves as a reminder that Spartan's ultimate mission is to protect our military.
My name is Bill Tody, and I'm the CEO here at Sparton.
My name is Luis Colondres, and I am a test technician at Sparton. I respond to any trouble calls for any test systems, any hardware, software, any issues that happens out on the production lines.
My name is Kendall Schultz. I'm a test technician here at Sparton. So I was first exposed to the military, when my dad had joined the military, after high school or whatever. I was kind of just not doing anything, didn't really have a career path, so figured I would join the military and get some kind of training.
I was in the Navy for 26 years. I was a submarine captain and Commodore and had a great military career.
I wanted to join the military because I wanted to fly planes. I wanted to be a pilot and get an education too. So when I joined the Navy, I was working on an aircraft carrier, got to see airplanes every day, different places, got to see different places.
I spent 1 year in Oklahoma, 4 years in Germany. I was in Poland. I
lived in Japan for 5 years.
Romania, Israel, so just a lot of eye-opening experiences for myself.
I had a lot of defining moments during my military career, but the most defining one was on September 11, 2001, when I was in the Pentagon, about 100 yards from where the plane hit. One of my classmates was killed. I was spared, but it really refocused my life that day, the fact that I lived and others didn't, and put me on a different trajectory for the future.
So a sonobuoy, it would act as basically an underwater radar or temperature control device or data acquisition device for submarines or boats.
It's dropped from an airplane. It needs to survive a 500 G impact with the ocean. After it survives that impact with the ocean, go down there and detect some of the world's quietest submarines.
I decided to leave the military because I wanted to be home with my wife, start a family, a more structured lifestyle. That was my biggest push for getting out of the service.
I decided to separate really once I hit my 10 years.
One of my sister's friends told me about Sparton, so I looked them up. They had a position open in the one I got, and last July when I got out, I basically was only out for 10 days and then started working here.
I knew of the product as far as the buoys. I would see them loaded into the helicopters and things of that nature. But outside from that, I had no idea who Sparton was.
I think the advantage of a veteran coming to Sparton, being that so many of the senior leaders at Sparton, including myself, are veterans ourselves, we understand what strengths the veteran brings to the job, but we also understand what skills the veteran needs to develop to succeed here. So we don't have unrealistic expectations for that veteran. And as a result, I think we have a much higher success rate for veterans coming to Sparton than other companies might.
The teamwork, the camaraderie, and how everyone works so well together and understands each other. That's very hard to come by. Sparton is definitely a perfect second career.
I was a leader in the military, so I don't need supervision like most people do. That's kind of how our whole section is. Everyone's a leader themselves, so everyone knows when you come into work, you know what you have to do. And that was a good skill that the military had taught me, probably the most important.
No doubt that we all look upon this job as serving. We're just in a different uniform. I wore the Navy uniform in my last life, and now I wear this. But we're still serving. We're still designing and building things that support our fighting forces.
Metadata is a dynamic science company with purpose. They're the global leader in creating end-to-end solutions to support the entire clinical development process for new therapeutics, vaccines, devices, and diagnostics.
Medidata's technology brings hope to millions of patients all over the world by powering the studies needed to help prevent and fight diseases. And part of their success? Recruiting veterans. David Lombardo joined the Army in 2004 and spent 12 years in active duty. In 2018, joined the Medidata team as an enterprise support manager for U.S. operations.
As a captain in the United States Army Signal Corps, I led teams around the world in a variety of areas to include telecommunications, infrastructure, and operations. Like many military members, I had the unique experience of living overseas the majority of my career. From deployments to South Korea, Afghanistan, Iraq, Germany, I had the opportunity to experience cultures firsthand. I think the problem is that most military members don't really understand that networking is so important because we don't have to do it in the military. It's just, you're told where to go, when to be there, kind of figuring out what it is you want to do, where you want to do it. Those are important things to do before you leave the service. Within Medidata, I manage a team of technology professionals across the U.S. supporting the business with application support, computer support, audiovisual, meeting, conferencing, basically everything to do with communications within the business.
Tiffany Harris joined the Marine Corps right out of high school and served 4 years. She's now a senior manager working out of Medidata's Houston office.
I spent 4 years as a United States Marine, mostly on the East Coast. During that time, I learned software development. And ever since, I joined the Marines because I wanted to learn a skill that was marketable. Prior to that time, I had never even worked on a computer. When I joined and began training, I found myself paired with many, many men who created and built computers as a hobby in their homes. And I realized that I was in need of learning really fast. And thankfully I did. I joined Medidata because of the purpose of the company. Right now, today, we're working harder than ever because we provide technology that powers the clinical trials. My team works on everything that supports all of our products. So my day-to-day is different every hour. Every hour I get to work with different people, and it makes it fresh and exciting for me.
The Medidata team understands the importance of both hiring and helping veterans.
It's important to me and to Medidata that we hire veterans because veterans first have served our country, and secondly, because they've been trained to adapt, to learn, to respond quickly. For that reason, you can bring in a person that has a level of maturity that has been tested and proven because they've served our country, and also because they have a willingness to sign up for a mission and to complete it successfully. One of the partnerships we have right now is with NPower, and NPower trains veterans when they are coming out of the military. They train them in technology to prepare for jobs in the civilian world. They also work with underserved populations.
We're also a proud sponsor of the Disabled American Veterans because of the great work that they do in helping patients. Last year, we supported their virtual 5K, and we held a Greenlight a Veteran hiring campaign to encourage employees within the business to hire more veterans.
By providing the best cloud-based technology for clinical research and putting patients at the center of everything they do, Medidata is changing the way drugs, vaccines, and medical devices are developed around the world.
Medidata is a good place for veterans to work because we care about veterans, we care about people. And we have a mission that you can wrap your minds around.
Knowing that the work that we do is improving the lives of people is really important.
With an estimated 200,000 U.S. service members transitioning to civilian life each year and unemployment numbers on the rise, creating new opportunities for veterans remains challenging. We're headed to Indiana to learn how Allison Transmission is making a difference while proudly supporting those still on active duty.
For over a century, Allison Transmission has established itself as the world's largest manufacturer of fully automatic transmissions for medium and heavy-duty commercial vehicles, U.S. defense vehicles, as well as the supplier of commercial vehicle propulsion solutions. Meet retired Major General Dana Petard. He's the VP of the defense programs at Allison Transmission and plays a key role in the company's veteran recruitment initiative.
I served in the military, our U.S. Army, for 34 years. I commanded everything from a 30-person platoon all the way up to 40,000 soldier division installation. Worked in the White House. I was military aide to President Clinton for 2.5 years. And my last position in the Army was as a commanding general on the ground in Iraq in 2014-2015 in the initial fight against ISIS. If you go back to the founding of Allison by our founder and namesake, James Allison, he helped found the Indy Speedway. When America entered World War I in 1917, he stopped all production of race car components and began to build things for the U.S. military buildup. Allison makes 80% of all transmissions for U.S. military wheeled vehicles. So the fit for the military is very, very natural.
U.S. Army veteran Lorraine Van Dalsen, better known as Jewel, joined the Allison Transmission team in 2011. Since then, she's proudly become a fabrication machining specialist for the X1100 transmission that supports military tanks nationwide.
So I went in the Army, the U.S. Army at 23 years old. I did 4 years active duty. My military job was a heavy equipment operator. So I worked at an ammunition company and also drove a forklift. Coming from being self-employed into a workforce where I do clock in, my military discipline helps a great deal there. Get up early, get to work on time. The other big thing in the military they taught us was teamwork. And we do a lot of that around here, sharing some of the work and helping each other. You know, I am kind of proud that we do transmissions for our military tanks. It's a big deal. We're coming in every day, we see the flags hanging above our aisle, but it reminds me how proud I am to not only have served in the military, but also to be in this plant at this time.
Allison Transmission entrusts its continued success on the diverse skills, experiences, and backgrounds each professional brings to the organization. A prime example of this success is Sales Operations Manager and U.S. Marine Reservist Michael O'Quinn.
I've been at Allison Transmission since 2008. I was looking to get off of active duty, and I knew some people that still lived in Indianapolis, and they said, hey, Allison Transmission's hiring. And I looked at the job description, and it was young officer, combat vehicle, and combat experience, you know, tick, 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 tick. Veterans are exposed to a lot of different things that maybe their peers and counterparts aren't. They've experienced different cultures, different ways of thinking, different people, but you all learn to work together for a common objective. And so I would say veterans can bring that background, that experience to any sort of challenge, and they attack that challenge in a team approach. And so they can be a leader of teams, and they can also be a valued member of teams.
During Michael's career at Allison, he's been deployed on 2 separate missions. In support of Michael and his military duties, Allison provided him with salary differential compensation, covering the difference between his military salary and his salary at Allison as a full-time employee.
Working for a company that does care about veterans, it really instills a sense of pride. You know that each day you're coming in, you're doing something worthwhile. Working for a company that you know that's going to give back and take care of a community that I'm a part of. So that means a lot to me.
To learn more about career opportunities at Allison Transmission, visit allisontransmission.com/careers.
Done right, right now. These are words of OnPoint Group, a company with core values that deeply align with military veterans. Take a look at this.
I'm Daniel McKinney. What I do for Concentric, I'm a lead technician at an advanced auto parts warehouse. I was out of high school for about 2 years, and I tried the college thing. College really wasn't for me. So my mom actually took me down to the recruiter's office, and that's how I ended up being in the Navy. And it was exactly how the movies were. They come onto the bus, got us all off there, took us through there, got our haircuts. So, I mean, it was definitely an experience for sure.
My name is Michael LeBlanc. I'm a strategic account manager for Miner Ltd. In high school, I was working for my dad. Right after graduating, I didn't really know what path I wanted to go. I knew I wanted to go to college, but I wasn't really 100% sure of what to do. And I'm from a really small town, so I also wanted to kind of get out and travel and see places. And pretty much the Navy kind of spoke most for that.
I was stationed in Japan for 2 years, and I traveled to Hong Kong, Singapore, Guam.
My absolute favorite memory, by far rappelling off the giant 300-foot canopy trees in Thailand, was by far the most fun thing I ever did. I did my last few years as a recruiter out here in Arizona, and the operation tempo of the sea duty at that time was pretty intense. I also just got married about a year before, so I kind of had to look what I thought was best for me and my wife, and that's kind of what led me to looking to get out.
It was time for me to go back out to sea, and I really wasn't, my head wasn't in it no more. Going through the transitioning stage out of the Navy, we went through all these classes, and while you're in these classes, they're telling you all these things about how hard it's gonna be to find a job and everything like that when you get out. And once I got out, it was actually the opposite. It was actually a whole lot easier than I thought it was gonna be.
I started working with a couple of job placement that focused on military transitioning out, and then they lined me up with a bunch of different interviews. So throughout all those interviews, I found Miner. From there, I kind of just made a decision to go this route.
My name is Alyssa Tony. I've been with Miner for 10 plus years. I am the Director of Operations. OnPoint Group is the parent for Concentric and Miner. Concentric, the single stop for material handling and critical power, and Miner, full service facility partner for docks and doors. OnPoint, Miner, and Concentric share the same values and high growth opportunities, which aligns very well to military veterans. They're very dedicated, they're very coachable, and they're always looking to get to the next step. So it's a very good partnership. Our culture is by far the best out of any facility expert company that I have ever seen. We work hard, we play harder, and you know, for somebody who's really dedicated and looking to make that advancement in their career, this would be a great place to start.
I think my experience with leadership is extremely important. Moving to this role, all that leadership applies directly to how I deal with customers, different people within the company, and it definitely propelled me really quickly up the ladder. Even with my higher ups, if I need anything, even with the HR people, I mean, if I call them, I mean, they respond to me quick. Like I said, it's just like I'm in the military. I mean, everybody's just friendly, so it's really awesome.
Our military veterans have not only served for our countries, they have left their families for months and years on end. They have dedicated more than any of us have ever even thought of doing. On behalf of myself and Miner, I don't think that we could be more appreciative than we are, and we would love to pay that back by giving them an opportunity to join our wonderful team.
If you're in the military and you're about to transition out of the military and you're still looking to be part of something like the military, then OnPoint would be the place to go.
For veterans transitioning out, OnPoint Group has a huge promote from within culture. They really value everything that the military has, and you'll be extremely successful here.
It's great to see that after sacrificing so much to the military service, today's veterans were able to shine at these outstanding companies. I'm Montel Williams, and thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Military Makeover Operation Career. We'll see you next time.